Hey guys, thank you for joining me today. This is Russell Santos, the Realtor, on another segment of Long Island Locals. I'm here with my guest, George Eldi, owner of Wines by Nature. How are you doing, George?
Very well, Russell. How are you today?
Hey, can't complain, can't complain. So George, where is Wines by Nature located?
Wines by Nature, we're located at the shops at Eastwind in Wading River. It's a nice little community village shopping center.
So I discovered this place. My wife came here with our son, Isaac, and his grandparents. They came here, they heard about this place because my friends Steve and Brittany got married at Eastwind, and this is actually their 3-year anniversary. So it's kind of ironic how we set up this date randomly. But anyway, so we walked into this place and we're just blown away by the whole area, the shops at Eastwind. And we just stumbled upon this place, and your employee, James?
Yes.
James, he's your, is he your marketer?
He does a lot of, James's family owned Dima Liquors in Setauket, and he worked there since he was very young. And when I went to open this up 3 years ago, he was going to school at Stony Brook University to get his master's degree in information technology. His parents have since retired, so he wanted to work, and I said yes. So he does all my IT work and double checking, and since he's lived through it since he was 8 years old, he's a really good confidant, as well as Christopher Youngs, who's my right-hand man here. All three of us work together in our similar but different roles of trying to make Wines by Nature, the best shop that it could be.
Oh, I hear you. And what I like about this location is the whole shop at, what is it?
Eastwind.
The shops at Eastwind. The whole area really blows me away. I wasn't here at night, but if you guys get a chance, the scenery is beautiful. As I walked into the parking lot for this interview, it's just, it's great in the Christmas time, but how is it normally around the, I guess the summertime?
Summertime, well, thank God the sun doesn't set till 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
So all of the trees are normally lit up, but we're really decked out for Christmas time. Like all the trees are on the lines, all the different decorations are out. And it's, it's an outdoor shopping mall. We're right next to a cheese and spice market. So being next to them, a nice little jewelry shop here, a bakery, a soon-to-be candy store, collectibles. There's women's decor, men's decor, home decor, women's decor, clothing stores. So it's it's a nice little spot because the world did not need another strip mall.
Amen.
So it's a very nice walking village.
So how long has Shops at Eastwind been around?
About 3.5, almost 4 years. 4 years.
And were you around during its inception?
I was at the grand opening at the Cheese and Spice Market. Patty and Gary, who own it, are friends, and I used to be a wine rep, and I sold wine to her when she was running La Paz restaurant. So we were friends, and she said, Wading River really needs a proper wine shop again. So I was here at her grand opening, and she kind of planted the seeds. And then I opened up July in 2017. She opened up in October 2016.
That's amazing. Wow. So it was basically just word of mouth how you got involved in this location, right?
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the design of your place. It really strikes me. I mean, it matches the east side of Long Island, and it really captures as you can see, yeah. Let's start off with this. I see someone drew this up.
Yes.
Carabella.
Yeah, that's her handle on Instagram. Her name is, Cara Hoblin. She's a chalk artist based in Greenport, and she did a lot of work for some stores, some restaurants, and basically the way you see the way the shop looks
Yes.
is I was a sales rep for 17 years. So I was selling a lot of these wines to some of the top stores and restaurants here in Suffolk County and in the Hamptons. So what you see is my experience of what I liked and what I enjoyed
Right.
from my customers.
Right.
So I took what I liked and I stayed away from what I didn't like, and I kind of squished it together. So I saw some chalk art, and like, that's very cool. You know, the wine cabinets, the wine racks, you know, just the soft round feel about it. So I just put it all together.
So you said you were a sales rep.
Yes.
Now, is it for a particular company?
Yes, I work for Frederick Wildman and Sons and Verity Wine Partners. So they are two small but very intense books with very good family-run, historically significant wineries and people.
Okay. And tell me about the whole transition. Wines by Nature. Now, this is your baby, right?
Yes.
So how was that getting this, the whole process from when you had this idea for Patricia and to where you are now?
Well, I knew that anywhere you go on Long Island, within 5 or 10 minutes from wherever you are on Long Island, you're going to find a very good wine shop. When I mean a wine shop, I mean a place where they're proactively going to talk and help you discover some new wines, versus you know ordinary stores where they're just carrying big brands. I did not envision myself opening up a wine shop, you know, and just showcasing what everybody else is showcasing.
Right.
I wasn't designed to do that, and there's no fun in selling what everybody else has. So the fun and the enjoyment is discovering the awesome people, places, and regions that the world has, and bringing them forward for people to then discover. You know?
No, when you say the world, like every type of wine is from another country?
We carry wines, the crazier, the almost the better. We have Uruguay, New Zealand,
Really?
Greece, Macedonia, Portugal, Israel, Lebanon, southern France. We have eyes on some wines from the Canary Islands, every region in Italy and France, and you know, good wines don't have borders. Our sparkling wines also come from different parts of France, of Alsace and Burgundy, Cavas, South American wines, southern France, Lambruscos. So even our sparkling wines, you know, just don't come from Champagne.
Right.
They come from everywhere.
So so I'm not really like a big, I drink wine, but I'm your average wine drinker. Whereas I just find it whatever, and then I just pick up. It's mainly a Merlot. Can you tell how? Yes, a Merlot, and I just pick it up, and my wife and I, we just have our own little wine night. So if let me put you, not really in the spot, but I'm a customer that's walking in. From what I'm understanding, is that you like to pair food with the particular wine. So how does that process work, if I'm curious about that?
Well, being next to the cheese shop, a lot of times our customers will go there first, pick out a cheese or some meats, and then they come over to see us. We're like, what's in the bag, what cheese you have, and we'll pair the wines and the cheese together.
Yeah.
Or we're asking them what meal they're going to have. We have a great prime butcher shop 1 mile that way, and we have Milowski's Poultry Farm 2 miles that way. So, and also the Bounty of the North Fork from Andrew's Family Farms here. So we're right in the center, the epicenter of everyone's culinary, you know, choices when they're cooking from home. So it's what's for dinner, and the question has to be asked because wine is made for the meal. That bitter dryness that you get is a necessary component. It's like the windshield wiper to your palate, so your last bite's as interesting as the first bite. So that bitterness that you get, that dryness, kind of sweeps away, so you can you won't get palate fatigue. Like you just the mouth will stay fresh and vibrant and not get bored, with the same flavor over and over again.
Interesting. Now, how did you, I guess, have this skill where you could, determine the different types of taste of wine and the whole?
It comes from, working in the restaurant business. Waiting tables got me through college, so I stayed through the restaurant business, and I worked on the North Fork, and I learned, a lot drinking beer with the winemakers, and how food and wine goes together, and I just kind of started up from there.
Okay, so at the time of release of this video, which would be December 10th, the holidays are coming up. So generally, what would you say? Christmas ham would be the common meal that everyone would be, or if you're Italian, it's more seafood, right?
Yeah, there's the Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Yeah, there you go.
We've gotten up to 12 in my house. So there's, I guess everyone's culture has a different family background. From they can either do the turkey, ham, the Feast of Seven Fishes. They can do a filet mignon, or they do an Italian spread. It all depends on what your family tradition is. But if you're going to have a ham, I would recommend a Riesling.
A Riesling. An
off-dry or a dry Riesling to go with the ham, or a very light red.
Is there a particular one that you would recommend that you have in the shop?
There's from the Finger Lakes, we have Anthony Road Dry Riesling and Red Tail Ridge Good Karma Riesling, and from Long Island, the Pominock semi-dry Riesling. Those will be kind of like the local New York State type of, I would probably go that way.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm feeling
yeah.
A little bit like I should have, everyone's kind of like reeling themselves in, trying to stay close. So
Yeah.
German Riesling would be fine, but let's bring it close. Let's show a little New York State the love.
Okay, so tell me more about that then. Like you're talking about local wines?
Yes, those are all
Yes.
local wines.
Oh, okay. So we talked about the ham. Now what about Thanksgiving passed, but a lot of people like to have turkey
Yeah.
in the holidays.
Beaujolais and Pinot Noir go very well. As long as you're finding a wine that has high in acid, low in tannin, so the tannin is going to be the dry, like Cabernet Sauvignon. You would stay away from a Cabernet Sauvignon because it's too big, too dry. Save that for the filet mignon. And you want a high acid, low tannin, medium-bodied wine. Even a Barbera, or if you want a hearty red wine, you can also go with a Zinfandel, or some Italian wines also go well.
Okay. So now we talked about the ham, the filet mignon, and then we talked about the turkey. What about now the Feast of Seven Fishes?
First you should start off with the Negroni. A Negroni is a great cocktail to start when you're about to overeat. It's 1 part gin, bitters, and red vermouth. So that's pretty cool to greet your guests. Kind of gets the palate and your stomach ready for a big meal. And then I would start with your white wines: Prosecco, Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc. You can do Albarino, any aromatic white varietal. And if you're getting towards the end and you want a heartier dish, Pinot Noirs with some red meat fishes.
Nice. Okay.
And just get plenty of them, or you go half bottles, and everyone can get a taste.
A little wine tasting action.
Yeah, but with the Feast of Seven Fishes, it's usually just course after course after course, and by the time I got the 4th or 5th course out, everyone's like, no more food. But in the great grandma Italian tradition, they're still able to eat.
I married into a partial Italian family, and my whole thing ever since, she's my girlfriend at the time, now she's my wife, Megan, and her family introduced me to antipasta. and I'm like in love. I'm familiar with salami and pepperoni, but having that as an appetizer was really strikes me as like one of my favorites, especially to drink with wine. So what would you recommend something like that?
Well, in that region of Italy, where the hard meats and cheeses and balsamic, comes Lambrusco. It's a red wine, sparkling red wine that can be sweet, semi-dry, or dry. And those really go with the salted meat. So I would recommend a Lambrusco to go with that. And it's usually lighter in alcohol. And it really kind of cuts through all the saltiness of the meats. And it doesn't weigh you down. And that's probably the most important thing when you're going to eat a bunch of food, is have a wine that doesn't weigh you down. What's good is in the United States, every state has the capability and production of making wine. So wine in every state is made, even in Florida.
Yes.
So I have wines from New Mexico and Arizona here, as well as Washington, Oregon, California.
Right.
So even up in Connecticut and New England, I mean, every state. Virginia is one of probably the birth spots. So that's one thing about wine. It's completely in our American DNA, and it's as varied as the people that we are.
Which reminded me now, the production of wine. The only thing I'm familiar with is taking the shoes off and stepping on grapes. Is that really how wine is produced? Or?
That is, that's part of the fun, romantic part of it's called foot trotting. So it's kind of it's not the most efficient way of doing things, but it's one of the most realistic ways of the way wine has been made. And when you're talking about small production, you can get into one of those vats and just stepping on the grapes, the softness, your weight of your body versus the flesh of your feet is like the perfect balance of just breaking the berries. You don't want to break the pits. That releases some bad tannins, but you do want to get the skin broken in a way where the yeast can now interact with the sugars to digest them and to make alcohol and CO2. Huh. But all of that, there's still a lot of places that still foot trotting grapes. We have Churchill's Port that still does that technique. They're a small port house, family run, and they still foot trotting their grapes, and they stop the fermentation by taking a 5-gallon spackle bucket of brandy and adding it to the tank, instead of having everything done by computers or by mechanical means.
Wow.
And then a lot of times, there's a lot of pictures I see about these small productions, and also in Burgundy and in California and upstate New York, where people are in the tanks and they're turning over the must by hand with big wooden spoons, and they're inside the tanks. They're in the vine. They're in the tank itself, stirring it, and it's a mess. But this is part of the traditional ways it was done. And if you can incorporate some of that into the modern world, I think it's awesome. And there's also a kind of re-revolution was what's old is new again. So there are orange wines and natural wines, without the additions of chemicals or additives. That's a whole other story, but they're really kind of natural. They're also making wine in concrete eggs. They're making them in amphora clay pots, again, glass-lined tanks. They're getting back to what was old is new again, and it produces wonderful flavors, but without chemical means. It's like you take all the same ingredients, and you have a bunch of different chefs or people in front of it. Everyone's going to make it taste differently.
Yeah.
So this is part of their spice rack of how to make the wine unique, or a lot of times as natural as a process as possible. Like they're guiding, not demanding.
So I guess, to be honest, like something like antipasto is I'll probably come to you for, and then just like go for your recommendations. But that's probably as far as I would go. But everyone is different. Yeah.
The most important thing, Russ, is, and for everybody else out there, you don't have to come to me for all this. Within 5 or 10 miles of anywhere you live on Long Island, there's going to be a really good customer service, friendly wine shop. Go to them often, and have a relationship with them. The same relationship you have with your tailor,
Fair enough.
with your hairdresser.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to a gym, there's a personal trainer. Create a relationship where you're able to go back and say, I like this, I don't like this, I'm having this with dinner, what do you recommend? And then through that relationship, you can help. If they know what they're doing and they have your best interests in mind, they're going to help and guide you along.
Okay.
So find someone who cares about what they're selling, and has the the personality to ask you questions and go along with it. And then you will say Merlot correctly, and you'll be fine. you're already into the Italian family, so you have the antipasta and all that. But for everybody out there, it's just if you can also take those big brands and put them away for a while, and then the discovery part. Once you learn about how food and wine goes together, and then you'll see the benefit that it has, and the freedom, and the enjoyment, and it should be hedonistic. It's enjoy. You sit down, you turn your ringer off, the TV off, you put on a little music, and you eat with your spouse and your family. That's the fun part.
Enjoy the moment and just like kick back and relax, right?
Yeah. I don't have exclusive rights to how food and wine goes together, but you need to find a spot that cares about you.
So not only that, you do have liquor.
Yes.
Yeah, more so wine than liquor.
We do the same, vetting process.
Yes. Okay.
With our spirits selection as well. Small family-run, distilleries, and we stay away from the big brands as much as possible. We do have some of the bigger brands, not the biggest, but again,
from
taste.
Every country too, like different ones.
Every country has their own specialty drink, but we have we try to focus more on the New York State spirits.
Okay. Yeah.
So bourbons, whiskeys, gin, rye. We have all over New York State, from Hudson Valley, Finger Lakes, Roscoe, and even up the street here with Long Island Spirits.
Okay, so you've been here since 2017, right?
Yeah.
So would you say you're at the pinnacle of your career, or do you see like what's next?
Oh no, no, it takes a long time. Even if you've been in business for 20 years, people are gonna walk into your store or shop or jewelry store and go, "Hey, how long you been here?" And they're gonna tell, "I've been here 20 years." "Oh, I never knew you were here." That, if you own a business out there, you all gone through it. People, there's still gonna be people forever going to find us. So that's always the challenge. But you just know, I didn't, during these 3 years, I probably learned more about human nature.
Agreed. Yes.
than about wines, because I have between myself and my staff, we have 60 years of food and wine experience. But the human nature, whoa!
But you're a sales rep, so are you? Well, you're for restaurants, right?
And stores.
And stores.
Yeah.
Okay, but the interaction wasn't more on the customer; it was on the owner.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a big,
now I'm on the front.
shift.
Now I'm on the front lines.
Now I understand you too do interviews. Where can people find those interviews?
I'm easily findable. We're on Instagram and Facebook. It's Wines by Nature. It's also a YouTube channel. Everything's uploaded on YouTube. I have a Google site. Our website is winesbynatureny.com, and all of our content is uploaded on a weekly basis back to James. He makes sure that my digital footprint is accurate and timely.
So James is the expert from that whole end. And then, did he give you this idea to get into interviews?
No. Every idea you get from somebody else.
Yeah.
So you pick and choose, and I saw that people who put content out and interviewed and talked to people, you know, set themselves aside. Now, with all my relationships with all my chef friends and all of the winemakers and winery owners from across the world, I reach out and I get that relationship, and I have them help me, you know, promote them. So it's just something that, you know, he helps make sure it's good and accurate and does like some of the editing.
Yes.
But I just, you know, I saw what was going on and I applied it to myself.
Not a lot of people would really take that initiative, and it's rare when you come across people like that, so that's good. Yeah.
The picture right there,
Yes, that one? Yeah.
that is Westchester Avenue in the Bronx. That is a 1930 photograph of my great-grandfather in a retail store in the Bronx. So it's in the family blood to be in retail, I guess. And you can't be shy.
No? Now, do you train your kids to think that way, or?
I trained him until he turned 12. And then I became an idiot. Before then, I was a god. The teenage years.
Yeah.
So, but he knows, he gets it. He's worked the shop before. He's worked in and around. He knows everybody here. He's the mayor, and I teach him the same thing. We gave him money, and he knew at an early age, "Mommy, buy me this." Oh, you got your money. You can go buy it. And he wants to buy a book. He'll look at it, make a decision, he'll buy it. So he's always had this.
A mentality.
Yeah. I think you have to.
Yeah.
I know we met late in life, so you know, we had to get this one right. And he had to adapt to us. We weren't going to adapt to him. So he, you know, he's a very fine young man at an early age, and because we need him to be a fine young man at an early age, we don't have time.
I hear you with that. I'm raising a son of my own. Is being a parent is a challenge, and it's you want to give them the knowledge, but I don't know. It's just like it's difficult sometimes.
Oh yeah,
every year I think.
But my financial advisor that I've had since I was 17 years old, he's over in John Fitzpatrick over in Port Jefferson. He says to me in our conversations, "You want them off the books as soon as possible. You want them off the books."
Really?
Yes. You have to be independent, thinkers, earners. They have to be young men and young women as quickly as possible, so they don't live in your house when they're 30 or 40 years old, and they're gonna cost you your money. So you have to make them as strong, as independently as possible, free thinkers, right? You don't give an opinion, you make them formulate their own.
That's the challenge.
The biggest thing is, "Oh, did you get hurt?" It's no. What'd you learn? Get up. You know, or we're coaching soccer. It's like, "Son, you know, soccer's tough." I go, "But wait until you see what life is. I mean, that's easy." You know, it's the challenge, it's the competition, and it's, you know, trial and error.
Just like life.
Just like life, but you make sure they're only making mistakes, not stupid mistakes or costly mistakes. You're letting them find their way, because you can only tell them so much. They got to figure out for themselves. But so far, so good.
Well, I think the fact that you have a well-established business running, you have a good what do you call it, head on your shoulder.
Sure, depending who you ask.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just like you're in a great location. This is Wines by Nature, located at the shops at East Wind,
yep.
Which is always a challenge for me. Right, the gateway of the North Fork.
Right. Yeah, we're right there. Right, we begin the North Fork right here.
So you've been here for 3 years. You're still growing. This is still like you know, like I feel like honestly, when I walked in, or at least this area, I feel like this place has been here for 10 years, but just, you know, hearing that you only been here for the past 3,
it's really done well here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well laid out, thought out, you know, common area.
Yeah. So it's a blessing that you actually, you know, you acquired the spot and this location, and just through your relationships, and it definitely paid off in dividends, I think. Yeah.
Yes, but every day is a new day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still on the upswing, and quite frankly, we're always going to be on the upswing. You know, any good chef or any good wine shop should have the attention deficit disorder. So there's always something fresh on the menu. There's always something new for our customers to discover. So that kind of challenge is always going to be there. You can't be complacent. You can't plateau. You know, that's not in the vocabulary.
Okay. And what about the start of the pandemic? How was that challenge?
Well, people were not free to do what they wanted. So they couldn't go out to dinner. There was a lot of options that were taken away from them, and the one option was, you know, stay at home to eat and drink. So we were able to do deliveries, contactless deliveries, and now we have our dedicated website for curbside pickup and free local delivery. So that came around this summer. It took a while to get get it running and working, but there's a website where everything that's here is on the website.
Beautiful.
And we're trying to make it as easy and as everyone as comfortable as possible. You know.
And you just launched that in the summer.
Yeah, we launched it at the end of the summer. Yeah, end of the summer.
Okay. Yeah. So it's still kind of, you're getting used to it, but I think
we're used to it now. Getting our customers used to it is,
Yeah.
and now they're discovering it and they're using it, and it's a very easy application to go through. So,
but the only thing is, you don't get that face-to-face interaction.
No, you don't. But we try to make the site as user-friendly and as human touch as possible. But we're always available. It says right on the front page, you know, you can speak to any one of us during business hours, and we can guide you through there.
That's smart, yeah.
But yeah, with the pandemic, it's just, you know, in the quarantine and the shutdown and all that awfulness, you know, we try to make the staying at home, the home chef, you know, the home entertainment, you know, that part, we do our little part of doing that.
Good. Yeah. I hear you with that, because ever since starting this whole segment of Long Island Locals, everyone's been feeling it. The gyms, I guess like the photography business, with, you know, lack of weddings and like even wedding venues. Yeah. Everyone's been affected by it.
Oh, my restaurant friends, God bless these people. I mean, what they have to try to do to get through on a daily basis is hard. Now take away, you know, added restrictions, it's awful. So, you know, take out as much food as you can from the restaurants this time.
Definitely, yeah. So always support local businesses. That's what I respect about you. You have Choose LI, local and independent. They
it's a Suffolk County promotion governmental website and engine to, you know, to help to remind people that if you spend money with someone who's local, that money stays within the community. So that cycle of money changing hands stays here. If it goes on the internet, it goes out and never to come back. So you spend money, spend local, it comes back to you tenfold.
I agree, 100%. Everything that you've been talking to me about, George, has been insightful. It's been an education. I myself am learning a lot. It's inspiring me to actually, you know, try different wines and get away from the Merlot.
Merlot, hey, guys.
You see, I'm learning. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. Once again, I am here with George Eldi, owner of Wines by Nature, located at
the shops at Eastwind and Wading River.
And it's been here for 3 years, so whenever you get a chance, come by, enjoy the scenery, and meet George for yourself.
Thank you, Russell, for taking your time out of your day.
My pleasure.
Because you are also a small independent business as well, so you still have to, do the same things.
It's adapting. That's what I learned.
And you're not gonna sell somebody a house. You're gonna find the right house for them. It's the same skill set.
It's funny that when you mention that, because you're right, but because I'm not that wine enthusiast, I just think, okay, you want a bottle of wine, you kind of have to, it translates.
Do I want a ranch? Do I want a split ranch?
Yes.
What's a modern? Is it the school district and the traffic? I don't know these things.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. That's why you're in this business and I'm in this business, But when we meet, it really translates into the same thing, the people.
We believe that a shopping center or a shopping village like this is part of the reason why people want to move to the Wading River, Shoreham, Wading Hollow community, even in Port Jeff Village, Stony Brook Village. I mean, these are the village centers that you move to the area. This is part of the benefit.
Agreed, yeah.
The water, the ocean, the city when it comes back, the North and South Forks and all the bounty around here. So there's a lot of, what you do in your series is you're showing people the reasons why to move into a neighborhood.
Basically,
and it's about the people, the places, and the community. So your series is really informative, and I think it's really does you and your realtor business a great service, because you're highlighting the reasons why we're still here on Long Island.
I appreciate that, yes. Being I am a first generation, but I lived in Long Island for as long as my 30 years of living, so yeah. It really goes hand in hand. Long Island is home, and that's my goal, showing what my home is about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. Well, once again, I'm here with George Eldi, owner of Wines by Nature, and I'm Russell Santos, the realtor, signing out. And as always, let me know if there's anything in the world I could do for you.